What up, gang? Back with the real. You know what's the deal. We've had some major losses in the Chicago drill scene over the years due to one particular beef that has gotten so far out of control that the body count still continues to take lives after so many years. The beef in question is between STL, EBT, and Tookaville versus WIIC City and O-Block. From female bangers to shooters that can headshot from a distance, this beef is some of the most savage demons throughout Chirac. Today, we're gonna take a look into the beef. Who are these gangs? What are their allegiance? What sparked the hatred and revenge? And the members lost during their bloodthirsty feud. Let's get it. Out of Chicago, O-Block is widely its most popular hood. You can accredit this to having mainstream rappers like Chief Keef and King Von, or for a much darker reason, how deep they are in the streets. In fact, between the years of 2011 to 2014, which was the height of their beef with STL EBT, O-Block was labeled the most dangerous block due to the number of shootings that occurred. But while many refer to them as O-Block, newer fans of the Chicago drill music scene may not be aware of the name WIIC City, which stands for Wild, Insane, Crazy. From just the name, it's no surprise at their reputation in the streets. WIIC City would become O-Block after a tragedy occurred in the gang, but we'll soon get to the loss that caused it. As we've discussed in previous vids, WIIC City came about after the demolition of the Randolph Towers apartments in the 6200 block of South Calumet, which was a stronghold for mainly Black Disciple BD gangs. This would give rise to a new group of savages coming up in WIIC City in Parkway Gardens on King Drive and 64th Street. This would become home to the BD set, WIIC City, with members like the aforementioned King Von and Chief Keef, along with more notable members at the time, T-Roy, Big A, Platoon, Boss Top, Reezy, Sharoid, Boss Money, and a very pivotal player in the beef, OD. While WIIC City had a lot of other gang members, we're going to be focusing on those that play a major part of the story in the beef. On the side of the gang feud is the GD set, STL EBT. The gangs are actually two neighboring sets on 63rd Street in St. Lawrence and 64th Street in South Eberhard Ave. Like WIIC City, they have their own set of hitters like the female top shooter, Jakara Barnes, who went by the name K.I. Her ride or die, FBG Butter, FBG Brick, FBG Duck, Lil J, Lil Doc, Boss Trail, Lil B, WIIC, and just as OD, a very important player in the beef, Tuka. So we have the gang's location, who they are, and the key players in the beef. But beef doesn't just appear. Something had to be the trigger. In this instance though, GDs and BDs and Chirac have been going back and forth, dating back into time. But for our generation, there were particular hits that made things irreconcilable between the two camps. The first we actually covered in the FBG WIIC vid. You can check it out via the description. What happened was WIIC, originally being from WIIC City, would still roll with STL EBT over to his old hood. Normally, being teenagers, old heads would leave the shooting out of their hands and they just be fist brawls. But on one instance, guns got involved and Reezy from WIIC City lost his life. About 11:30 p.m. on August 25th, 2010, officers responded to a call of a large crowd fighting near 64th Street and South King Drive. After clearing the crowd, with a bullet wound to the back and rushed him to the hospital where he passed. The problem with this was that although it hasn't been confirmed, WIIC was rumored to be the one who pulled the trigger. Once there are losses, then it furthers the cycle. An eye for an eye. Sure enough, someone fell from STL EBT that changed the scope of the gang forever. It was the street savage, Shondell Gregory, better known as Tuka. Tuka was caught lacking at the now notorious bus stop on the 600 block of East 63rd Street at about 6:48 p.m. on January 12, 2011, when a passenger wearing a half mask jumped out of a dark colored vehicle and murked Tuka, ending his life on the spot. In honor of their fallen member, STL EBT would adopt the new name Tookaville. To this day, persons like FBG Duck's mom still visits his site to pay respects. O-Block would solidify Smoking Tuka as a worldwide slogan after his passing.
Shot Tuka. Say Tuka, man.
But this brought pressure on them from Tuka's female savage, K.I., who returned the favor with murking one of their main members. On August 10th, 2011, at 11:35 p.m., O.D. Perry of WIIC City would receive multiple bullets about the body, including a critical wound to the neck. He would pass away on the hospital bed while doctors fought to save his life. Later, the female that earned the hood's respect was rumored to be the one that carried out the hit, but those rumors seemed to be confirmed when she posted up online with the same firearm that OD had, concluding that she not only murked the WIIC City member, but took his gun as well. Her involvement in the hit was later confirmed by authorities that released documents showing an informant listing both her and Boss Trail in the shooting. Tookaville got their get back, and with it, WIIC City also paid respects to OD by changing their name to O-Block. Now, 2 respected persons from each side was lost. The beef could have called it quits here and squashed it as even, but Tookaville was up because of the rumored body WIIC got on Reezy. Plus, both sides continued to disrespect the other. In their celebration, Tookaville wasn't yet satisfied with just upping the score, so they did what their shooters do best: shoot. They'd catch another body, this time O-Block's platoon. Reports state that on October 19, 2011, platoon was caught lacking outside Parkway Gardens when shooters opened fire, hitting him multiple times as well as grazing a young boy. Luckily, the young boy made it, but unfortunately, platoon passed at the hospital, probably due to his late arrival, as the ambulance has to first wait for officers to clear the crowd blocking the way before they could get to him. Fingers point in different directions depending on one's responsible, but many point towards it being WIIC. In fact, it's rumored that his song B.O.N. references the hit with the bars, "Hitting him up on the drive, I did that by myself, but phone them was looking out, I had a little bit of help, gang."
Hit him up on the drive, I did that by myself. Block, but phone was looking out, had a little bit of help, gang.
Due to how tight him and K.I. was, she is said to be the next shooter that was with him. Even the infamous picture with her posted up with OD strap never showed who she was with, but I always go beyond to get the details for you guys, and I've actually found the original photo. And guess who was with her? WIIC himself. Tookaville was on a murking spree and seemed to be having the upper hand. They applied even more pressure when taking out their next target, Sharoy Liggins of the O. This hit has become like an ancient tale. Boss Trail gets credit for his pinpoint accuracy. It's said that on February 16, 2012, he spotted Sharoy from across the street in the 6400 block of South King Drive, and with a laser beam on the strap, he hit his mark head on, leaving Sharoy lacking where he stood. Police discovered Sharoy lying on the street with a single gunshot wound to the head. He would later pass away at the hospital to the enjoyment of ops like K.I. and Boss Trail, bragging of the red beam tactical hit. FBG Duck and Ruger would further diss Sharoy in their highly disrespectful diss, Exposing Me remix. O-Block would have their chance to get back on the unsuspecting Lil Doc of Tookaville. Lil Doc was caught while getting something to drink at the convenience store on April 28, 2012. After painting his aunt's woodlawn building, he wanted something to quench his thirst. As he entered the store, the shooter sprayed his way from outside, hitting Doc. What's worse is that officers came on the scene and left without finding him. It was hours later that a relative found him in the 6300 block of South St. Lawrence Avenue, where he stumbled and lost his life. Although nothing was concrete, T-Roy of O-Block and twins Cortez and Courtney of TYMB are said to be the ones that orchestrated the hit. Remember K.I.'s partner WIIC? Not only was he an op, but the one that took King Von's cousin, Platoon. That gave birth to a demon looking to claim souls. The unfortunate one was WIIC's cousin, Modell. Richard Modell was on his way to meet a shorty when Von walked up and opened fire, murking Modell and having his cousin in a wheelchair after leaving his intestines falling out of his stomach. You could tell it was personal by the hit. Von would claim the body while taunting WIIC in the process. While all this was going on, Tookaville's ace shooter, Boss Trail, that took out Sharoy, was seeing the carnage O-Block was doing and felt his time coming. In an attempt to survive, he bought a bus ticket to leave Chirac and go to Iowa to start a new life. Sadly, he never made it. On November 8, 2012, just 2 days before he was to leave Chicago, it's rumored that T-Roy was the one that got him. Boss Trail was found face down in the alley in the 2600 block of West 83rd Street with a round to the back of the head. It's becoming evident that even though they're savages in the street, they're still human who feel fear and don't want to lose their life. But unfortunately, J Money from O-Block met the same fate as Boss Trail. K.I. and Lil B are the ones associated with the hit. Apparently, on September 2nd, 2013, J Money was set up, believing he was meeting up with the girl in the 6600 block of South Rhodes Avenue in Woodlawn, but instead was greeted with bullets to the head and body by K.I. alongside Lil B. In typical K.I. fashion, she would mock O-Block, disrespecting J Money's passing. Sadly, her time would come on April 11th, 2014, when O-Block got their get back. She would be hit 9 times in the mouth, neck, and chest before running and collapsing on a neighbor's doorstep and passed. The alleged hitters were King Von and Big A of the O, but just like K.I., they too lost their lives. King Von in an entirely different situation with Quando Rondo that I covered in another video, and Big A was murked by K.I.'s blood brother, G.I. Joe, as get back for her passing. This is a remaining report, the hits to slow down, but the beef continued on and is still taking lives. Can't Get Right from Tookaville is one of the shooters rumored to have murked Chino from O-Block. Then he himself was riddled with bullets along with an innocent bystander by hitters rumored to be from O-Block. The back and forth will continue, with O-Block catching an important target, FBG Brick of Tookaville, in July 2017. He was FBG Duck's older brother. Him, along with an associate, was left lifeless with holes at the scene in the 6300 block of South St. Lawrence. WIIC would roll with some other Tookaville members for their get back, catching O-Block HK lacking. HK would try to run, but was murked before being able to escape with multiple shots about his body. Being the savage he is, WIIC would disrespect HK's passing as well as diss Vaughn in the process.
Go that HK pack. Tell about King Vaughn, his ass for the jack. Tell him I said that.
While still alive, Vaughn would promise WIIC he'd get back on him with the O just a day before he received a round to the head. I broke this down in an entire vid on WIIC, so you can check it out in the description. Luckily, WIIC survived, but the same couldn't be said for Tookaville's head honcho, FBG Duck, whose life was taken by Muwap and 4 other O-Block members in broad daylight. Most of the original members from both sides that carried out the beef are either 6 feet under, in jail, or disfigured. Nobody wins. Everybody loses, no matter how many more continue to fall. RIP in the comments for all those fallen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for future videos.